Namaste, Periyava Saranam. The divine origin of the Saundarya Lahari. Our Adi Acharya worshipped in temples in the same way as ordinary mortals do, and through his godly power enhanced the divine presence in some of these shrines by installing yantras in them. In the course of his pilgrimages, he went to Kailas and had darshan of Parvati and Parameshwara there. He himself, let us remember, was their incarnation. Rama, an avatara himself, fought with Parasurama, who too was an avatara like him. Krishna was the brother of another incarnation, Balarama, and they lived together. There are many such interesting facts about avataras. Now, the Acharya, who was an avatara himself, had darshan of Parvati and Parameshwara. The two were the root from which he himself had sprung. At that time, Parameshwara gave him 5 Spatika lingas and a sheaf of palm leaves. Each of the 5 lingas are Ishwara's own form. The linga has no hands, legs and head and is formless. The stanzas of the palm leaf manuscript themselves constitute Ambal. It is so because among the goddesses many forms is the one that is made up of mantras. The 100 stanzas contain chiefly matters relating to Ambal and Mantra Shastra. Just as the lingas are a form of Ishvara, the palm leaves containing the hymn became a form of Ambal. So it is just and proper to say that while the lingas were given to the Acharya by Ishvara, the hymn was presented to him by Ambal. The one who gave, the one who received, the object that was given, they were all one and the same. Here we have a mingling of Advaita and the Dvaita. One of the 5 lingas is installed in Sri Kanchi Kamakoti Mat as Chandramaulishwara. It is called the Yoga Linga. The other 4 the Acharya installed are the Muktilinga at Kedarnath, the Varalinga at Nilakanta in Nepal, the Bhojalinga in Sringeri, and the Mokshalinga at Chidambaram. All this is a part of a later story. The Acharya set out from Kailasa, taking with him the 5 lingas and the hymnal work. He wanted to propagate the worship of Ishvara and Ambal. As he was leaving Kailasa, Nandikeshwara, who was keeping watch at the entrance, saw the palm leaves in the hands of the Acharya. There is a saying, even if the deity grants you the boon, the pujari denies it. Nandikeshwara was distressed that the Mantra Shastra was a very great treasure was being lost to Kailasa. He was given to pick temper. His distress turned into anger. He proved an obstruction to the Acharya as the latter was leaving Kailasa and pulled at the palm leaf manuscript he was holding in his hand. The Acharya managed to come out with only a part of manuscript. More than half of it, the latter part comprising 59 stanzas, have been snatched away by Nandikeshwara. The Acharya was left with 41 stanzas. Perhaps you must be angry with Nandikeshwara for what he did. How could he have behaved so with such a great one as the Acharya, you will ask. How could he take away more than half the work? Ambal herself had given the Acharya to be propagated on earth. But I feel like thanking Nandikeshwara profusely. Why? The Acharya was extremely unhappy about what had happened. More than half of what Ambal, the mother, gave me in her grace, I have lost. What she entrusted to me was like the dharmic treasure a trustee takes care of for the sake of the people. Thus the Acharya lamented, Shankaram Loka Shankaram. True to these words, he was spending every moment of his life for the well-being of mankind. At the end he grieved, I have lost more than half of what the world mother gave me before I could present it to the world. At that moment was heard the voice of Ambal commanding him, You compose yourself the 59 stanzas you have lost. Such is my resolve. That is what will please me, and that is why I made you lose the same. At once the stanzas poured out from the Acharya like water gushing out as a sluice, gates of an oceanic canal are opened. He described Ambal from head to foot, Kesadi Padam, and made the hymn complete with its 100 stanzas. The first 41 stanzas constitute Mantra Shastra. Only a few can understand them and follow them in practice, since very stringent rules are called for in their observance. This part contains Mantra Yoga as well as Kundalini Yoga. Even the slightest error in the observance of these yogas can have an adverse effect on the practitioner. The Acharya portrays Ambal in his 59 stanzas not as an embodiment of mantras but as a beautiful form that can be visualized by all people with delight. He depicts the goddess graphically from the locks of her hair to her sacred feet. The glorious image of the mother takes shape through his poetry. In other words, Ambal is his poetry incarnate. The 59 of the 100 stanzas constitute a separate section called Saundarya Lahari, while the first 41 are said to constitute Ananda Lahari. The two parts comprising the 100 stanzas must be read together as a making up a single hymn. The entire work constituting of both the parts is also called Saundarya Lahari. The first 41 stanzas deal with the subtle ideas of Mantra Shastra, Kundalini Yoga, and the esoteric elements in the worship of Maha Tripura Sundari, also known as Sri Vidya. It contains matters that are extremely useful to the devotee. However, the latter part comprising the 59 stanzas, the authorship of which is ascribed to the Acharya, is beyond words. The stanzas combine majestic and sweetness of expression, representing as they do the highest thoughts that words can convey, and they arouse our sense of wonder. They are incomparable for beauty of expression and depth of meaning. It is this part that can be read again and again by all for the ineffable joy it brings. There are sculptures of exquisite beauty created in the past. People belonging to later generations have found themselves unable to repair them if they are seen damaged. Such is the case with the stanzas of our Acharya's Saundarya Lahari. Take out one word of it, you will never be able to find a proper substitute for it. What the Acharya lost to Nandikeshwara has been a gain for us. Otherwise, we would not have come to know the Acharya's astounding literary genius. That is why we feel we must be thankful to Nandikeshwara. If the Acharya had not been waylaid by him and a part of the hymn snatched away, we would not have come to know that our Acharya possesses such stanzas to inspire in us the devotion for Ambal, stanzas that read again and again and take delight in reciting. Periyava Saranam.